AI has just changed trading forever. And I'm not talking about some AI trading robot that's gonna cost you tens of thousands of dollars. It's going to have a 97% win rate on paper and then blow your account when it goes live. I'm talking about you literally sitting on your laptop with the ability to use AI to create trading strategies at your fingertips. Because what you might not realize, it has never been easier to code a trading strategy, even if you have absolutely zero coding experience at all. You do not need to understand Python, you don't need to understand PineScript, you don't need to understand complex programming logic, and you definitely don't need to be a coder. You just need to know how to ask the right questions. In this video, I'm gonna use AI, specifically ChatGPT, to build not one, but two completely different crypto trading strategies from scratch. What we're gonna do is we're going to prompt ChatGPT to create a Bitcoin trading strategy that trades Bitcoin long and short using moving averages and the RSI. Then in a second trading strategy, I wanna create something that is totally uncorrelated and trades ETH using Bollinger Bands and volume. We're gonna backtest both. And then this is the part that no one's gonna show you how to do. We're going to automate them live in our very own trading bot. No theory, no screenshots, no imagine if I did this. We're going to plug these two into a trading robot and let them trade for me live. So if you've ever wondered if AI can actually help you build automated trading systems, well, you're gonna find out. Okay, so step one, we are going to use ChatGPT. I am logged in and I've got a prompt ready. This is not a super specific prompt, but it's gonna get us started. And if you are starting from scratch, you can absolutely start extremely general. You don't have to get super specific or super technical. You can adjust things on the fly, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. So here's what I've got. Essentially, I'm trying to build a PineScript strategy because PineScript is what we need for TradingView, and I want it to trade Bitcoin based off the RSI and a simple moving average that I can toggle between, let's say, a 200 moving average, a 50 moving average, a lot of the moving averages that we've probably all seen in our trading experiences. So within a couple of seconds, we've got the PineScript code. It's gonna give me a description of what we can do with the strategy. We can obviously edit this later on. I'm gonna copy the PineScript code right here. We can see if we drop it all down, that's the extent of it. I'm gonna now go to a TradingView. I'm gonna go to the Pine editor. I'm going to create a new strategy inside of here, and I'm going to paste over what's in there, 82 lines of code. It's not super complex. Click on Add to Chart. I will name it later if we get this to run. So we have an error. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this error right here. Actually, I'm gonna go down to the bottom. If we scroll to the bottom, we'll see this right here, error at this point. I'm going to copy this entire thing, okay, across the bottom, and I'm going to bring it back to ChatGPT. I'm literally just going to paste that in. That's it. This is how easy it is to go back and edit code. If you didn't have AI in the past, you'd have to figure out what the issue was yourself. And so you'd have to have more experience with coding and how this stuff works. You gotta be a bit more technical, but now we don't have to be. Okay, I'm going to grab that new version. I'm gonna come back to the Pine editor. I'm going to completely get rid of and paste in the new one. Click on the refresh. And just like that, if you look to the left, we now have a back-tested strategy, which by the way, I didn't even pull the script to the side. So if I get rid of this, click the X, we can always come back to it in a little bit of the pine tree icon right there. I didn't even change it, and this strategy is up already 500% without customizing anything with a 59% max drawdown. Whatever I just created seems to be working pretty well over the past 6 to 8 years. Now I'm on a 1-day time frame chart, so if I bring this down, let's just make this a little bit smaller so we can see. Here's the daily time frame, the 1D. That's the time frame I have selected at the top of my screen. If I jump down to a 4-hour time frame, look at how the backtest on the bottom changes. Go to a 1-hour time frame, see how it changes. And in a 30-minute time frame, it completely changes. And so we have to make sure we're utilizing the backtest on a time frame that actually works and it makes sense. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the strategy right here. There's an option where it has these settings. I'm gonna go, before I even touch anything, I'm gonna go to properties. I'm gonna jump down, I'm gonna turn the initial capital to $1,000, and I'm going to leave the commission right there, because it's kind of good to have, but I can customize that based on the broker that I'm using to make a more accurate backtest. And then I'm gonna go to the default order size. I'm gonna go to percent of equity. I'm gonna set it to 100% of equity. What that really means is it's going to enter with my entire account size. This might be what you wanna do, this might not be what you wanna do, but I'm gonna set it to 100%, meaning that like it'll help scale my account over time if the strategy is actually profitable. If it's not profitable, this can hurt you. Leave everything alone for now. We can make some adjustments later. Click on OK. Okay, now we can see how this changes our backtest. And as we can see, this dramatically changes our backtest because now, going back to 2018, this trading strategy is up 23,315% with a maximum drawdown of 54.94%. That seems absolutely incredible to me. But when we unpack it, what do we actually see here? Well, we've got a high profit factor. We have a 30% profitable trades, but we only have 23 trades. So we don't have a massive sample size. So it tells me like, okay, this is working, yeah, but is this something that we can potentially rely upon for years and years to come? Well, it's not going to trade that often. And actually, if you go back to 2021, it had a huge win from 2020 to 2021, and then it just lost. Small losses, but it lost for a long period of time. And then it had a huge win into 2026, or in this period from 2022 all the way to 2026, which is kind of crazy, essentially just getting long, staying long, and locking in the gains. This could be good, could be useful. But in the case of what we are looking at right now, is it going to be a consistent strategy that we can rely upon every day, every week, or every month? Probably not. So I want something that trades a bit more frequently, but also I want to balance that between like, I want this to actually be profitable. So if it's trading more often and it's less profitable, then maybe we just have to weigh that. Like, let's trade less often, but let's make more money. Let me minimize this screen right here and let's zoom out on the chart so we can see what's actually going on. So we can see, essentially, this is trading a ton back in here. And then it just got long in late 2022 and it's been long seemingly since. So this is something that we got to be thinking about. Okay, is this something we actually want to trade? Well, it seems like it's working, but let's see if we can refine the strategy just a little bit more. Go into settings. Now quick, I'm going to go to where it says fill orders and I'm going to go to on bar close. Click on that. Doesn't really dramatically change anything here. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to inputs. The reason why I put on bar close is because it's a way we can help avoid the repainting factor. So sometimes when you're trading with any strategy or you're backtesting a strategy, you'll have this issue where you'll look back in time and say, wow, the backtest is amazing because it's trading based off of a candle that hasn't completed itself yet. And so it's tough to say, would I have gotten in, would I have not gotten in if I was to trade that thing live? Now, when you're automating, it could be a completely different story, but I highly recommend that you, for the sake of the backtest, especially as a beginner, to have a closer backtest to how live performance is. If you can use candle close, I would recommend it. It's not going to fit for every strategy, every person, but it could be useful in making a backtest become much more realistic. It even had an input right here to use percent equity position sizing. By clicking that off, it kind of throws off what we had. So back in the properties, I have it to 100% of equity, but if I go back to the inputs, if I was to turn this on and change this, it's going to override the properties on the inputs. So you can leave this off for now. It's essentially being done with the properties in this case, but I just wanted to clear that one up. So now let's jump over here and let's see if we wanted to play this off of the RSI. Let's change the RSI to 20 and 80, okay? And see if we can beat what we had. So jumping back into that, we now completely throw off, we're not throw off, but we have a very profitable strategy, but not a lot of trades. There's not a lot of data here. Very, very nice profit factor, obviously, but it's so skewed. So just changing that number doesn't really help us. We go to 40-60. Let's see what happens here. Still on the one-day time frame, it adds a bunch more trades. Now we're up to 51 trades, and we can see that we're closer to 50-50 on our trades in terms of how many trades are winners, how many are losers, which is good, or it doesn't necessarily have to be good, but we can see that we don't have like a perfectly beautifully sloping equity curve here, but it's better. So from a swing trading perspective, something that's going to trade a couple times per year, it seems like on average, you've got a 12,000% return with a 66.8% max drawdown. But what if I jump this down to the 4-hour time frame? What I see here is a somewhat more consistent equity curve, but it's still got the same characteristics of having huge wins and then trying to keep those losses small. With nearly a 40% win rate, a 1.5 profit factor, we've seen better numbers, but now we've got 352 trades, so a massive sample size. Like with a sample size like that, I now know like this going back 8 plus 9, 10 years almost, this has got some merit to it. This is not just some lucky strategy that had 10 trades and it just so happens to be profitable. Now we have a max drawdown of 77%, which I don't love. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it to add a stop loss percentage that we can add into the strategy. So what it's going to do now is it's going to recreate the strategy, essentially just modify that code and give me a way to put a stop loss in there. So I'm going to see if I can adjust that stop loss with a percentage. So I'm like, okay, we get in the trade, and if we ever lose this much percent on the trade, automatically stop me out. And I'm gonna see if I can make this strategy more effective or have a lower drawdown. That's what I'm looking for. Because when we go back to the drawdown, 77%, I'd like to improve that. Gonna go back to the Pine editor, and I'm going to go into this 70 lines of code, and I'm going to copy over that, refresh it, X out of this guy, and now we can see that I didn't do anything. I didn't edit it yet, but we've got a 10,000% return here, and we've got a 63.64 max draw with 482 trades. So more trades, profitable trades, 37%, 1.367 profit factor. Not bad, profitable. This is insane, like when we look at 10,000%, but at the same time, you can look back on Bitcoin and say to yourself, well, if I just bought and held Bitcoin from 2016 until now, I'm gonna make a lot of money too, right? So you have that component to it as well. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm much more worried about like, what have you done for me lately and are you profitable? The buy and hold is a different animal. Like that's investing. This is much more trading and much more active. Okay, I've messed around with some of the code. I've added a stop loss and a take profit percentage. I changed the SMA to the 50 period moving average. I made the RSI oversold 20 and the RSI overbought 80. So now what we're looking at is a strategy that has a 54% max drawdown, which is not as bad, okay, as we were looking at before. 1.3 profit factor, just over 41% profitable trades. But at least I personally like this equity curve a bit better. It's sloping up to the right a bit better and a bit cleaner. It did have a drop back in 2022, but it's actually held up pretty well since. And even as Bitcoin's come back down as of late, it hasn't gotten obliterated, which is good. I'm going to save this script now, so this way I can come back to it whenever I want. I'm gonna come back to ChatGPT. I'm going to give it another prompt. This time trading ETH, and I'll fast forward the process here so you don't have to watch me do this whole thing. Okay, so this one is a Bollinger Band strategy, essentially looking for a tightening and then a break of those Bollinger Bands, so the upside or downside, and getting long when breaking up, down when going short. And so this, based off of what I have right here, very minimal customizations on the 4-hour time frame, we have a very, very, very nice sloping curve. I actually love this curve, and I'm very, very excited. We have, essentially, if I get this out of the way, a 1.556 profit factor, almost 44% or 43.5% profitable. A lot of trades going back over the past, let's say, 8 to 10 years, 735 to be exact. So a little bit more of a swing trade strategy, but also I'm not trading every single day, but not trading super infrequently, which is kind of like the sweet spot I've tend to found, at least by watching and tracking so many trading strategies on AlphaInsider. Look at this. Max draw of 23.78. So what's actually going on here and what made these big changes? So when I got rid of this box in the bottom, okay, watch this. It completely changed the graph. The graph is no longer nearly as good, okay? It's up, great, but it's not nearly as positive as it was when I add this on. So what this means is that essentially when price comes back into the bands, or this indicator, the Bollinger Bands, when price comes back into range of those bands. So we're looking at playing the breakouts on the strategy of the Bollinger Bands. When price came back into those bands, meaning it started to slow down, or at least the indicator caught up with price, that's when we exit the trade up or down. And this ends up completely cleaning up the equity curve, like dramatically. And if I even got this used stop loss take profit brackets out of the way, the curve is not bad. There's some big jumps in here. It does actually perform better. Do you want to use those or not? I'm not really sure. Do you want to have that stop loss percentages? It could be helpful. If I bump this up to, let's say, 10%, this might even improve it right here. I didn't even try this. No, it actually doesn't. So this is where you can come back and forth and kind of mess around with these numbers and just kind of, adjust, which is, I mean, I could sit here all day long and do this. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, call it the ETH Bollinger Band breakout plus a volume confirmation. And what now you're going to see is on the left on my chart, these guys right here, the two strategies that I just created today. We've got them, we've back tested them. We've seen their performance graphs and they are not the same. These are strategies that are not correlated in the same ways. So now what I want to do is I want to bring them in, create a trading bot, and automate them. So I've already got a test live trading bot using Hyperliquid on AlphaInsider. We've got about $400 inside of this trading bot, and we've got a couple strategies inside of here already. But but I'm gonna bring these two in as well, and I'm gonna show you exactly how that's done. Once you get the process down, it's gonna be super simple. You can be firing off trading strategies, bringing them into AlphaInsider, which is the best and easiest way to automate them to trade your own money so you can be in control of the strategies you're using. You can be in control of how much of your money is being used here versus here versus here, how much leverage you're using. If you want to always turn one off, get rid of a strategy, change it, flip the entire bot on or off, you've got complete control. So I'm gonna go to my portfolio and I'm gonna go to where it says new strategy. So I'm gonna name the strategy right here. I'll start with this one. I can add a description if I wanted to. In this case, I don't need to. I'm gonna call it a cryptocurrency strategy and I'm going to leave it public for now. But if I wanna make it private or a paid strategy, meaning that people would have to pay me to get access and then utilize, follow the trades, or even automate it on their own brokerage account, that's an option. I'm gonna leave it public for now, and I'm gonna call it a cryptocurrency strategy, and I'm gonna put a hypothetical starting balance of $1,000. This is not necessarily like what you're going to put into the trading bot or what you're allocating to the strategy. I'm just gonna set that up to start just so that we can watch it track over time on AlphaInsider, and it'll show you what the balance would do over time. I'll show you how to do this one super quick, then I'll do the Bitcoin one very, very fast, and then I'll show you guys how the whole trading bot platform works at the end. So once I've done that, I click on create. Now we have this strategy. Make sure you save this page. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the top of the page, and after the slash, that is going to be your strategy ID. So alphainsider.com/strategy/, don't include the slash, but after the slash, that is the strategy ID. And if you change the time around, just bring it back to the 1 year and make sure that you just take this without adding that time frame equals month, go back, bring it to the year, that is your strategy ID. Why do we need that? Because when I go back to TradingView, I'm gonna go to the strategy on my platform, click on those three dots where it says more, and I'm going to add alert. Click on add alerts. I'm gonna make sure my time frame is correct. It's the 4-hour time frame. That's what the strategy's been trading on. I'm gonna make sure everything is correct. I'm gonna go to where it says message, and I'm gonna name this again. I'm gonna go back to AlphaInsider on a new tab, go down to the resources section to make it a bit easier, click on the connect to TradingView, and then I'm going to grab under number 3, I'm gonna grab this text. That is the text we're gonna go back to TradingView and plug into the message section. And then see where it says strategy ID in quotes? That's where we wanna make sure we actually have our strategy ID right here. Copy that again, everything after the slash, paste it in there. Now we need the stock ID. So this strategy trades Ethereum. So I'm gonna go back inside of here. I'm gonna type in ETH on Coinbase, and then this is the stock ID right here, this line, ETH:Coinbase. Grab that stock ID, put it inside the quotes on this text right here. We leave the action, then we get to leverage. I'm gonna leave it as 1, and then we need the API token. I've already got mine saved, but if you don't have yours saved, what you're gonna go do is you're going to go to the settings tab on AlphaInsider and go down to the developer section. And then you're going to create an API key. You can name this API key, you can call it TradingView, you can call it whatever you would like. And then if you are using TradingView, click on TradingView. That's all you have to do. This is going to give it the exact permissions to take care of what it needs to take care of with a TradingView strategy. This is for something else. You'll enter your password, click on create key. Then you're going to save that key because you can use it again and again and again for other strategies. So I already have API keys. I'm gonna use a prior API key for this strategy. Once you have your API key, your API token in the case of the text, paste it in. It's gonna be large. Make sure that there's quotes at the end and the bracket on the bottom. I have missed that in the past, which caused this to not work properly. Then go to notifications. Make sure we have the webhook URL. When we go back to that resources section on AlphaInsider Connected TradingView, you will see the webhook URL right here. We're going to grab that webhook URL. We're going to copy that back to TradingView and paste that in right here. You can turn notifications on if you would like to. Well, I'll leave them on for now. Then click on create. Then you're gonna go to your alerts and you're gonna make sure that the alert is now active. It is. We're gonna do this exact same thing with the Bitcoin strategy. Okay, both of the alerts are now active inside of TradingView. We are good to go there. I'm gonna go back to AlphaInsider. And now what I'm gonna do is, if I don't already have a trading bot, I am going to go and click on the new under trading bots on the home page. Or I can go to my portfolio, I can pull up those trading strategies that I just created, click on the auto trade button right here. It'll get you to the same place. Click on auto trade. It's going to either ask for an existing trading bot that you already have, which I have one, or click on new broker connection. I highly recommend Hyperliquid. This video, I walk you through how to set that up. It takes a few minutes, not that complicated at all. It's probably the best place in terms of leverage, ease of use, no KYC when it comes to compatible crypto exchanges the AlphaInsider offers. You'll enter your API keys, and then you will get to a page that looks just like this, where it's going to say update bot allocations. Now, you're going to just have one trading strategy in here, and your first automation, your first strategy is free. But when you want to automate multiple strategies inside of a trading bot, that's where you'll have to upgrade your AlphaInsider plan, which is something that's up to you to decide if you want to go that route. I highly recommend starting out by trying one and then adding more later on once you think things are working out or you see the value for yourself. So I've got a lot of stuff going on inside of this account, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this guy down to 25%. It's a pretty hefty position or size of my trading bot. And I'm going to now have 10.56% remaining. I'm going to add, let's go with 6% on this Ethereum strategy. And then I'm going to also add that Bitcoin SMA strategy as well. And now it'll say I have 4.56 remaining. I'm going to add that entire 4.56, which will equal 100 as you add up all the percentages of all the strategies, some public, some private, inside of this trading bot. Some trade more than others. It's just my massive creation that I've been kind of building out over time and really testing a lot of things out with this bot. So now once I do that, it's going to rebalance based on any existing positions, on current strategies, etc. And I'll be able to see all of my strategies inside of here, and I can easily customize my allocations at any time. And as I have more trades populating on these strategies, and many of them are swing trading strategies, some of them are day trading strategies, you'll get to see the performance of that over time playing out. This right here is now a fully automated trading bot. Anytime a trade fires, an alert fires on TradingView, which I have alerts turned on, so when these do fire, I get a notification on my phone, this is going to be trading for me automatically, 24/7, while I'm sleeping, while I'm eating, while I'm outside, while I'm working out, whether I'm watching the charts or not. This is the power of AI and automation. When you take the two, you put them together, and you add a little sprinkle on top of you being able to manage and oversee it for right now, you've got something very, very powerful on your hands. If you want to set up your first automation for free, I will leave a link to AlphaInsider, like always, below this video. You can always go ahead and do so. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section or reach out to us on our Contact Us page on our website. We are happy to hear from you. Any suggestions, anything, literally anything, we'll be happy to improve the product so that you can go out and automate the trades, the strategies that you want to automate on your own time. Thanks so much. See you next time.